Imagine a man so powerful that he could tear a lion apart with his bare hands, a hero whose strength struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. Samson, one of the most iconic figures in the Bible, is remembered for his incredible feats of strength. But what if we told you that everything you thought you knew about Samson's power might not be entirely true? There's a secret hidden within the pages of Scripture that reveals the true source of Samson's might. It's a detail so profound, yet so often overlooked, that it could change the way you understand his story forever. Stick with us as we uncover this untold truth. And before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community of Bible enthusiasts. Together, we uncover the hidden layers of Scripture every day. Samson's story begins not with his birth, but with a divine promise. Before he was even conceived, an angel of the Lord appeared to his mother, declaring that her son would be a Nazarite dedicated to God from the womb. The Nazarite vow came with strict rules: no wine, no contact with the dead, and, most famously, no cutting of his hair. While many people assume that Samson's strength came solely from his uncut hair, the truth is more complex. His strength was a divine gift, tied not just to his hair, but to his obedience to God. The hair was merely a symbol of his covenant, a physical reminder of his consecration. But here's where things get interesting. Samson wasn't the perfect Nazarite. In fact, he broke several of the Nazarite vows throughout his life. How then did he retain his strength for so long? The answer lies in God's purpose for Samson. His mission was to begin the deliverance of Israel from the Philistines, and God's plans would not be thwarted, even by Samson's flaws. This sets the stage for a story that's as much about divine grace as it is about human strength. Samson's physical feats are legendary. He killed a lion with his bare hands, struck down 1,000 men with the jawbone of a donkey, and tore the gates of Gaza from their hinges. But these acts of superhuman strength weren't fueled by Samson's muscles or even his hair. The secret to his strength lies in a lesser-known biblical detail: the Spirit of the Lord. Multiple times throughout the book of Judges, we read that the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. It was this divine empowerment, not his physical attributes, that enabled him to perform such incredible deeds. This fact changes everything. Samson's story is not about a man's natural abilities, but about God working through him to achieve his purposes. It's a reminder that true strength comes not from within, but from above. As we'll see, this makes Samson's eventual downfall even more tragic. Samson was strong, but he was far from perfect. His life was marked by impulsive decisions, unchecked anger, and a weakness for women. One of the most telling moments of his character comes when he defies his parents and marries a Philistine woman, a decision that not only broke cultural and religious norms, but also foreshadowed his eventual entanglement with Delilah. This brings us to a pivotal lesson in Samson's story. Strength without self-control can lead to destruction. Despite his divine mission, Samson often acted in ways that seemed more about personal vendettas than fulfilling God's will. Yet, even in his flaws, God's purpose prevailed. This duality of divine grace and human imperfection is what makes Samson's story so relatable. We, too, are flawed vessels through which God can work. But there's an even deeper layer to Samson's struggles. His constant failures reveal a powerful truth about God's character. His faithfulness doesn't depend on ours. Even when Samson broke his Nazarite vows, God continued to use him. This doesn't excuse Samson's actions, but highlights the incredible mercy of God. No story about Samson is complete without mentioning Delilah. She is often portrayed as the ultimate femme fatale, but her role in the story is more complex. Delilah's betrayal was not just an act of personal treachery, it was part of a larger spiritual battle. Philistine rulers used her to uncover the secret of Samson's strength, and she succeeded by exploiting his weakness for love and trust. When Delilah cut Samson's hair, it wasn't the act itself that robbed him of his strength. Judges 16:20 reveals the heartbreaking truth. He did not know that the Lord had left him. Samson's strength was gone because his disobedience had broken his covenant with God, and the Spirit of the Lord departed from him. This moment is a sobering reminder that our spiritual strength is tied to our relationship with God. Samson's downfall wasn't just about a haircut, it was about the erosion of his faith and commitment. Yet, even in his lowest moment, God's mercy would shine through. Samson's story doesn't end in defeat. Chained and blinded, he was brought to a Philistine temple to be mocked. In this moment of utter humiliation, Samson turned back to God. His final prayer, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more," is one of the most powerful moments in the Bible. God answered his prayer, and Samson pulled down the temple, killing more Philistines in his death than in his life. This act of redemption underscores a profound truth. It's never too late to turn back to God. Despite his flaws and failures, Samson fulfilled his mission to begin the deliverance of Israel. But what can we learn from his legacy? Samson's story teaches us that true strength comes from dependence on God. It's a call to humility, faith, and perseverance. And perhaps most importantly, it's a reminder that God's grace is greater than our greatest failures. Samson's life is a paradox, a man of unmatched strength, brought low by his weaknesses, yet redeemed by God's mercy. His story challenges us to reflect on our own lives. Where do we draw our strength from? Are we relying on our abilities, or are we seeking God's empowerment? The secret no one told you about.